Stage 1. Beat a seal to death with a bat. Stage 2. Pause. Who thinks about Stage 2? We should make a more critical gander at Stride 1. Sufficiently sure. Akatuk, known as Alaskan Indian ice cream in Alaska, is a frozen yogurt made in Canada and Alaska with inceptions in the local Eskimos of the areas, yet in addition embraced all the more extensively by those living there. Though most of us utilize fat from eggs or milk to make our frozen yogurt, this one uses caribou fat and oil from newly beaten seals. Yes, you can legitimately pound the life out of seals in Canada. 1. You can likewise legitimately chase polar bears too. It is blended in with berries and sweet roots. Also, if improved and chilled seal fat doesn't make you feel sick, what about this? It is generally made with the expansion of fish and dried moose meat. Correct, off-putting, substantial, frozen yogurt produced using slammed seals and creature fat. It's not aided by the way that it would seem that a bowl of wiped out by the same token. Known by an assortment of names, for example, criadillas in Spanish-talking nations, and grassland clams in pieces of North America. These are seared balls. You can utilize your creative mind with regards to working out why this dish is named after the disgusting shellfish that gives us wonderful pearls. The gonads are served in an assortment of ways. The most well-known is crumbed, and keeping in mind that they were once nourishment for cattle rustlers. They are currently famous in numerous spots among standard society. On the off chance that you get a craving for a significant piece of balls, you can drop into Bruce's Bar in Colorado, where they have been serving them since 1957. With an end goal to blend things up, they likewise serve sheep and buffalo testicles. Various other American towns likewise have yearly gonad-eating celebrations. Blood hot dog, or dark pudding as it is additionally known, is a certain something, yet a bowl brimming with blood clumps is something else altogether. Except if you're all Lithuanian. Kraujin Sriuba Juka is a soup made out of the substance of a whole chicken, duck, or goose and a decent estimated cup brimming with blood. It is totally bubbled along with the couple of spices and some grain and eaten with dark bread. Blood is a mainstream dish of numerous European nations and is eaten in an assortment of ways. Most ordinarily, as referenced, as hot dog. In any case, in Scandinavian countries it is likewise once in a while filled in as blood hotcakes with a side of reindeer meat. All in all, Lithuanian food is rich and amazingly great, and the country has exceptionally low paces of corpulence. Possibly we as a whole need to begin drinking blood clumps. At the stature of its utilization in the principal century AD, garum, a sauce produced using spoiling aged fish innards, was unbelievably famous in the Roman Empire. It was oftentimes joined with wine, oil, ground pepper, and even water to make a scope of various sauces or beverages that could be devoured straight or added to different suppers. Indeed, even the most destitute worker could manage the cost of essential garum, while the fanciest variant would bankrupt even the affluent working-class landowner. Plants devoted to its creation jumped up across the realm, and committed shipping lanes conveyed the smelling fluid to its uttermost scopes. There is no definite comparable in the West today. However, the fish sauces of Asia approach an English Worcestershire sauces produced using matured entire anchovies, guts included. Uncontrollably well known at the tallness of the Roman Empire. It blurred with its fall and floated out of Western cooking, maybe because of the absolute smell of the stuff. Discussing stinky, the Icelandic public dish of relieved, spoiled shark is foul in the outrageous. Produced using the Greenland shark. Hackle is noxious when eaten crude and genuinely rank when eaten restored. It's been aged in Iceland for quite a long time and is even referenced in the Icelandic sagas. The tissues of the Greenland shark contain a lot of alkali-rich urea, a compound likewise found in that notable delicacy called P. What's more, if that wasn't sufficiently terrible, the awfulness is increased by restoring the shark and afterward allowing it to break down for a few months prior to hacking off pieces of impactful, rotting, rubbery tissue. Some who have eaten hackle state that it's the most foul food on earth. I'll trust them since I sure as hellfire don't anticipate truly putting it close to my mouth. You may consider a dormouse a lethargic little hamster or a character in Alice in Wonderland, yet to certain individuals, they were, and are, food. In old Rome, dormice were broiled as a unique delicacy. The Romans brought him up in an extraordinary earthenware container called a glirarium. In the wild, dormice rest for the whole winter. In the glirarium, which was kept dull, the dormice slept throughout the year, which is the way they were stuffed. The containers had little flights of stairs for the dormice, places for them to store food, and air openings. At the point where they were truly fat, the dormice would be loaded down with nuts and broiled with nectar and flavors. As a rule, they were filled in as hors d'oeuvre. Today, wild dormice are as yet pursued and eaten in certain pieces of Slovenia and Croatia and are viewed as a delicacy. In different spots they are basic tidbits served between several pieces of bread. Casu marzu is a conventional Sardinian cheddar produced using sheep's milk. In any case, the genuine grossness factor comes from what the cheddar contains, squirming live slimy parasites. The cheddar is brought to a phase that some consider to be decay. Hatchlings of the cheddar fly, Pyophilicaceae, are brought to the cheddar to assist break with bringing down its fat. They eat through the smooth mass, causing it to mollify and leak a fluid known as lagrima, tear. While a few people eliminate the slimy parasites before utilization, numerous individuals burn through the cheddar worms whatnot. While doing as such, individuals are encouraged to cover their eyes, as the worms can jump out trying to get away. I think I'll adhere to blue vein cheddar. Puffins are little flying creatures with high contrast plumes. They have childishly oversized noses and are totally charming. Gordon Ramsay, being no more abnormal to discussion, as of late experienced harsh criticism for eating the crude heart from a dead puffin he had executed during a scene of his TV arrangement The F Word. Basic entitlements bunches were obviously quite agitated, and numerous individuals had a problem with the pitilessness of the demonstration. Nonetheless, the individuals of Iceland would not have fluttered an eyelash at his activities. The purpose behind this is that, in Iceland, crude puffin heart is really viewed as a delicacy, and puffins are eaten for food constantly. Ramsay really had all the appropriate allows and was freed from any bad behavior by the media specialists. Presently, if eating puffin hearts makes you miserable, get the tissues, since the French eat something more terrible. This cute winged creature is the size of a man's thumb and weighs not exactly an ounce. It is intended to be eaten feet first, with the nose and head being last, so you can appreciate the unpretentious kinds of the mind when the little skull breaks between your teeth. In 1999, the French government prohibited its utilization as food. However, they likewise restricted the utilization and offer of ocean turtle shell and ivory, yet both are still lawfully sold through escape clauses and legitimate special cases for the rich. The cost one winged creature now on the bootleg market is around $180. The late gourmet specialist Anthony Bourdain, who draped himself in 2018, ate the winged creature and portrayed his experience. I cut my molars down and threw my fledgling's rib confine with a wet crunch and am remunerated with a singing hot surge of copying fat and guts down my throat. Seldom have torment and enjoyment consolidated so well. I'm energetically awkward, taking so controlled pants as I proceed gradually, to bite. With each chomp, as the slender bones and layers of fat, meat, skin, and organs minimal in on themselves, there are glorious spills of fluctuated and wondrous antiquated flavors, figs, armagnac. Dim tissue marginally injected with the pungent taste of my own blood as my mouth is pricked by the shark bones. As I swallow, I attract the head and snout, which, as if not long ago, have been dangling from my lips, and gaily squash the skull. If bitting down on the itty-bitty body of a little birdie doesn't cause you to recoil, you're cold-blooded. It must be conceded, the sheer volume of synthetics of obscure source ought to sicken us all. Consider, for a second, the regular Western general store. Eliminate the external pubs. These are generally new nourishments like vegetables, dairy, and meats, and the cleaning passageways, and what you are left with is fundamentally insignificant human food drenched in synthetic substances. The synthetic compounds fill some needs. They add tone to weak items that essentially look like muck when mass-delivered in industrial facilities. They add or improve flavor. When all the normal flavor as fats is stripped out, due generally to the amazingly off-base and broad conviction that creature fat is risky to people. And they add surface-altering characteristics to keep powders dry, to keep fluids wet, or to join things that normally repulse each other together, emulsifiers. While a large number of these are viewed as protected, or protected in low portions, the normal Westerner is currently eating an eating regimen of nourishments that are for the most part defiled here and there. As far as I might be concerned, that is more disturbing than some other thing on this rundown or any characteristic food from history. Goodness, also, just to polish things off on actually the grossest note conceivable. 3 legitimate food-added substances you have presumably eaten for the current week are beaver butt-centric discharges, creepy crawlies, and human hair from China. 11.